vidéo. Oui. Alors on va prendre le micro pour la vidéo. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue donc, au CIDJ. Est-ce que vous connaissiez cet espace?
Non.
Non? Si je parle en français, déjà, est-ce que vous comprenez? Oui?
Not everybody.
But Dhillon, can you do quick translation? Or Schneider? Can you?
Should I continue? Okay.
Welcome to the CIDJ, ça je crois que je peux le dire. Donc le CIDJ, c'est une structure, c'est un centre d'information et de documentation pour les jeunes. Donc nous sommes une association qui est soutenue par le ministère de l'Éducation nationale.
So this center is
Une association, un centre d'information.
it's a center for information and
It's like Job Center, Youth Center, soutenu par le ministère de l'Éducation nationale.
supported by the Ministry of Education, National Education and
Éducation nationale.
National Education.
Quand on nous a sollicité pour pouvoir accueillir ce cycle de conférences, donc on était ravis que ça puisse se passer au CIDJ. On préparera mieux pour les années prochaines.
So when we are contacted for this event, we were very happy to accept and house this event here. And we will be even more happy to house it next year and organize it even better.
C'est un centre qui accueille tous les publics, les jeunes, les moins jeunes, les lycéens, les étudiants, les parents aussi, sur tous les sujets qui les intéressent.
So this is the center for young people of different age of students, young people in general, and also their parents for different subjects that they're interested in.
Particulièrement sur les questions qui sont liées à l'orientation scolaire, la recherche d'un projet, mais surtout aussi tout ce qui est création d'entreprises, d'associations, de projets citoyens aussi.
Especially this is about subjects around
Citizenship.
Citizenship. Different projects around citizenship related to job research or just people that have projects around citizenship subject.
Je reprends l'introduction, ça vous laisse démarrer.
So for introduction, that's all. We'll wait to start.
She has gone to get the rest of her colleagues. And why we chose to come here, because our objective is how do we build critical thinking and civic engagement, especially among the youth. Having done 6 conferences, this is our 7th one. And the last 2 years we were conducting them at UNESCO. We felt if our aim is to mobilize the youth, we need to find places where it's relevant for youth. And this is how we ended up at CIDJ. Just, I guess, I understand today's soccer, French playing Denmark. So there were many people who were supposed to be here, and we were a little bit surprised. But I guess it's hard to beat soccer and the weather. And I will get down to asking Professor Pratlong, if I pronounce your last name incorrectly, I apologize, to lead our conversation on collective I. When I thought of this as a topic, I've been reflecting and seeing as I interact with different people, we have so many group identities and every group has their rights. And when we coexist in such a interconnected society, maybe we need to think about what are our collective rights and what's that balance between right of an individual versus their responsibility towards other. Right of an individual, human, animal, plants, and the earth. And I will ask Professor Pratlong to lead our discussion on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For this presentation, I started to prepare some thinking and ideas about what I am experienced to deal with. I am professor of economics and management in the Sorbonne University, and my main economics background is to deal with, I would say, long-term approach, orientation of the society in terms of economy, in terms of management, considering two important issues in our society, turning first with innovation and creativity, and the second one, which is sustainability, the importance about how we can collectively think to solve some important problems such as the environment, the economics, or the society. So when Sonia invited me to participate to this conference, I was wondering what I can do in terms of presentation, share about my experiences, and share about my thinking in terms of as a professor from economy. I don't know if you are very familiar with economy, and most of the people believe that economy is something wrong or economy is something very unfair. But I would try to present this idea that the economy is something that is built on the collectivity. And the topics today is the relation between we together, as we could embody a relation between a group of people within a society. And economy is part of this organization. And the relation with I, with the subject, with the individual. And within this relation, it's how we can move from, I would say, a microeconomic representation about individual behavior, and how we deal with a collective approach, aggregate approach in terms of collectively thinking, how we can face these problems, turning with the environment, the animals, the nature, the society, and the collectivity. And for that, there is an importance now for innovation, because with innovation, it's a way for us to go collectively, how we can think, rethink the link, how we can improve. So I will try to mobilize this idea about innovation and I would say sustainability. So for that, yes, I was starting to understand, okay, what we know about this relation between we and I. We have these two, I would say, main philosophers. The difference between the guy over there, which is Hobbes, and the other one, which is Jean-Jacques Rousseau. If we start on the basement about where the economics is coming from, a very famous author in economy is Adam Smith. In 1776, he built The Wealth of the Nation, trying to understand how we go to build collectively a project for the society, a project of free trade, a project of exchange. And now we can say that most of the things not working in the society is coming from this liberal approach. But at the beginning, liberal approach was a way to think the place of the human, because it was the time of humanism. It was the time of the philosopher thinking with liberty. So here I wanted to present the difference between how it goes from Hobbes, and Hobbes was the one who was thinking about the man is a wolf for the other one. Whereas Jean-Jacques Rousseau was saying that we have a social contract. How I can exit from my personality to be engaged in a contract with the society. So from that, we move from, I would say, here the man is unable, to the situation that, okay, maybe the man can represent something good. And I would say now we have to start with this philosophical approach. Based on this, everything is how we can build the social contract. And I would not say what we can build in terms of social contract, but how we can collectively return to this social contract. Is it continuing to exist again? Today's 26th of June, 2018. What is about our relation with the collectivity and our social responsibility? So for this, now what we know is that we are evaluating in this collaborative economy, in this collaborative worlds. Whereas we could say that we have this piece of puzzle, and everybody is part of that, and how we can bring something from ourselves to contribute to this collaborative economy. So we know that these things that change the empowerment of the woman, and here you can see that yes, we can do it, and it was part of the campaign of President Obama, that you could see here the importance of the collective action to be engaged together. So it means that this notion about collectivity, this notion about the relation with people who recognize themselves to share some values is very important in the transformation of the society. It's very important because what we know is that things are changing very fast. And if we move to Darwin was saying it's not because you are strong or because you are brave or because you are intelligent that you will survive. It's because you are able to change. Do you think if we go collectively together, if we try to think together about the change, we can survive and we can try to promote a new future and a new orientation? So from that, here you could see, if we just see what was the evolution of our last 20th century. It started like maybe 100 years ago, and we have a lot of evolution in terms of crime, in terms of change for the society, in the economy, in the technology, things that are good, things that are wrong. And here you could see that it goes very fast, and we are in this process of destruction. New things appearing are destroying all things. Innovation, transformation of the society is pushing. And here in this transformation of the society, we have to think about what it will go for the next future. So here, what you could see is that, okay, what is the next steps? And today we are thinking about how we can go together. This is this issue, what will be the next paradigm shifting? What will be the wave of innovation? How we can collectively use the technology to mind our future with integrity. What is the value of integrity? Mindful of the perspective of the others and the future generation. This is what we have to think and what is our responsibility on this orientation. So for that, now we have to know that we are in these new trends. We are in these new trends being called the collaborative economy. Maybe you know this author, Jeremy Rifkin, which is presenting this idea that now the society is no more organized as it was in the past from a completely vertical relation with people in the top and people in the down. We are completely now facing an horizontal orientation of the society because we all collaborate with the devices we have, with the organization we have, with our partners, with our community, to try to change what is going on. And here, we are in this part of sharing the economy. There is no way for capitalism system. There is no way for communism system. In the communism system, someone was deciding the collectivity. I would say it was maybe the dictatorship of the collectivity, or the dictator who was deciding for everybody. In the capitalism system, it was mainly for, okay, everybody is free, and the freedom of everybody is converging to something which is optimal. But now we know that where we are engaged is to this area of sharing the economy. So for that, I would like to to focus on what we can concentrate on now. The topic was about nature, the topic was about our relation with animals, our relation with the territory, our relation with what is the, I would say, the life. And this is what is the question with the sustainability. What is the importance of collective engagement from political point of view? How the politics and the government engage together to solve some problems for sustainability. And also from our point of view, how we can go together for sustainability to think for long term. So here we know that all of us are belonging to this planet. And previously in the past, I would say it was, long distance from Paris to Brazil. It took like, I don't know how many hours. From Paris to US, from even Paris to Marseille. But now what we know is that our world is contracting. And we are, I would say, I'm not using your paper, but the world is doing like this. The distances are reducing, and we are all of us being connected together. The distance, the time. I can WhatsApp my friends in China now. I can be connected through people in Argentina or in Africa. So it means that our relation with the community is not what we used to face previously. My parents and my friends, now we are citizens of the world. And this is the reality since, I would say, maybe the 21st century. So for that, we have to question what is our responsibility for collectively be engaged in the sustainability, and what is the sustainability? What does it mean for you to be sustainable? How we can, for instance, if I would say, okay, Sonia, what is the most important things to solve today for you? If I ask you the same question, and all of you, everybody of us will answer something different. Because based on our culture, based on our experience, based on who we are, we all face different sensitivity. But what we know is that we have to go together to find a way. And for that, there is here the importance of sustainability to be engaged together. If you can go, link, I would say, what is our organization today? Economics, because we are in an economy, and within this economy, we now the economy, how the economy is organized, it's how the collectivity is organized. How we can forget about the free trade, how we can forget about the economy. You know, I can exchange with you just with, I would say, with a currency, and this currency helped me, you know, to be peaceful in the exchange I will have with you. Previously, if we turn like maybe a long time ago, the people were coming, you know, to, okay, I'm not agree with you, I will use my force, I will use my strength to impose my wish. But now the economy was a way, you know, to pacificate the relation with our contributor. But the problem it has to go with the issues of sustainability. So for that, we have important things to collectively think about what we produce, what we want to produce, how to produce, where to produce, and for who you produce, about the redistribution of the wealth. This is an important issue we have to collectively think for the presentation. And here, everything is dealing with the development of the society. If we collectively engage, it's to share, to create value, to help, I would say, the society to go better. And for that, it's what we consider to be the development, Human Development Index, alphabetism, education, economics, wealth, and so on. So how we can go together to be engaged in this orientation. We have different measures. I can, if you want, I can just put it here so that I will go faster. We have here important issues like, is the society doing well? What do you think about this? Are people living well? Are people happy in their life? Are people satisfied with their life? Do people have the quality of the life they want? This is, I would say, the most important issues now. And who cares about this? we have, I would say, together to care about this. And here, this is in this question, how we can collectively answer to this question. It's the way we can move for sustainability and to be engaged in a collective engagement. Considering that here, for instance, if I try to focus about what is going on, because now we are discussing about what we do in 2018. This is the evolution of the economics growth. You could see here, I would say part of our development is something very, very recent. We just have, you could see here the development of the economy is just based at the end of the Middle Age. And this is here the development. But with this development, what it goes, it started here with the development of the economy and the development of the production. But in the same time, what we do have is here the increase of the people. The increase of the people, more and more people on Earth, and in the same time, we have this evolution of environmental problem. This is here the evolution of concentration of CO2 emissions. So we know that everything is to be connected, that here we face this situation. Previously, we used to have 5 planets to live, but now it goes to just, I would say, we have 8, 9 planets to live, and it will go like this. So all the indicators are completely negative. And here what you could see is that we only face this, but we behave individually, because me, I don't care about what you are doing. I just concentrate on myself. We here only care about our attitude for consumption, our attitude for production. But in the reality, we have to face collectively this planet. So here the question is, what about how we can find a way collectively to go to something which is here, I would say, the development, the economic development, but to be engaged in this area, which is here the biocapacity. And this is here one of the important issues, considering that, for instance, if we see different people, maybe you come from US, so you are, maybe not, but people from the US are like this, they are over-consuming on Earth. In Europe, we are a little bit less, and as it goes like this. So how we go? What is the responsibility about? And it's not also about the responsibility, it's what is our responsibility that these people are in such situation. So for that, we do also have to face this situation. Like this is the evolution of the inequalities in the world. So you could see that the richer are becoming richer and the poorer are becoming poorer. And this is how it goes. So where the solution comes from, the solution can come from to, I would say, wake up. To be collectively concerned with what is going on, what we have to face about our reality. At what cost are we living now? At what cost do I buy my jeans? At what cost my life is going on? Because I think only on my consumption, I think only on my welfare. But here, for that, to think only about it's this, that for instance, if you move to these issues, now we have a third of the species dying, 108 birds, and for instance, each minute you have 28 hectares of forest disappearing in Amazonia. So the point and the thing is, we are responsible of all of these issues, and we know the issues of climate change. So here, the way we have to engage is how we can reconcile the points. For that, we need to think collectively. Otherwise, we will continue to be Anthropocene, like eating ourselves, eating the planet, eating the other humans. And for that, we have to connect the reality, because we are together on this earth. Together, we collectively on this earth, with what is with this. And the way I can consider is how we can engage ourselves to the sustainability. This is Pratlong. She was the Minister of the Environment from Norway, and she was saying that, okay, collectively, we can move for sustainability to be engaged in this orientation. And here, the objective is to try, based on our action, to move in this issue. So for that, what I want to say is that we can, based on our approach towards the collective intelligence, towards the innovation, we can move to solve these problems. How we can go, it's first to consider that, okay, the world is completely changing. It goes from up and down, phases of creation and destruction phases. From this, what we know is that now we are in this situation of a new wave of technologies, publishing more and more patents, going for innovation, going for transformation, with issues saying that here, how we can try to innovate, how we can go to find solutions. We can find solutions if we connect ourselves to our culture. What I think means to connect ourselves to our culture is to have a collective understanding about the knowledge. Because if I know you, if I try to understand you, maybe I am engaged in a dialogue with you. And here, this is here the way we can innovate and try to propose solutions. Because the objective is not to say, to move from I to go to we. If we go to we, it's to propose a solution. If we go to we, if we go to a collective action, it's not to say, okay, we are together, but we are together for what? We are together to find solutions. We are together to act. We are together to propose something in the way to transform the society. And if you want to transform the society, I mean, it's not to propose the same thing as it was done in the past. The objective is to innovate, to introduce the novelty in the life, and to introduce a new way of understanding, and this way of understanding will be a collective one. And here, on this approach, we know that, for instance, we have to be connected with the humanities. We have to be connected with our brothers and sisters. And Einstein was saying that, okay, what is essential here? It's that we should focus on to understand the motive of humans being illusion and suffering. We have to focus on, I would say, what is essential, how you can imagine the solution collectively, how you can go together being engaged in this solution, what you know. And from your knowledge, you can imagine the situation. I would like to share this power of imagination. I was asking you some question at the beginning. Is your life good? How you go? Where the society is going? We are in this center, CIDG, which is a center dedicated for education, and I will tell you this story. It's the story about a professor asking to a young student, what you want to do in your life? And the little boy was saying, in my life, I want to be happy. And the professor, the teacher, returned to the pupils and says, no, you didn't understand my question. What you want to do in your life? Maybe the professor was expecting I want to be an officer, to have a nice job and so on. And the little boy answered to the professor, but maybe, excuse me, professor, it's you who don't understand what life is. And this little boy was John Lennon with the power of imagination. So the point is what you want to do. Based on, you can go to we can collectively exist if you start to exist by yourself. Because you bring something to someone. And here, what you can turn for the imagination and what you can turn for the other one. And within this, we need to mark this importance of the culture, to be connected with the other one. For instance, now I am expressing in English, you can connect with me because we share something. What is the common denominator? How I can go with you? If we don't have the same language, if we don't share the same culture, if I don't have any possibility to communicate with you, how we can go to be engaged in a collective action? We need to share. And for that, we need to learn the culture. This is the beginning of the point. To move from I is to recognize yourself first as being I, and then to have something to bring to the others. And as you have something to bring to the others, then you can start to express and dialogue and exchange and move to we. And the we is how you can embody this with the relation, with the man, and the relation where we are, the nature. So here, this is what is very essential. Culture is fundamental in the collective action. Because it has to be taught, it has to be learned, it's crucial because it helps us to share something. And if we say we, for instance, it's about we like a community. My community is maybe different from yours, but we can find a bridge between different communities. For instance, Sonia was explaining me at the beginning the community of the skaters. She was doing an event in Place de la République, and you have this community of skaters, which is maybe completely different from your community. How you can go with them? So the point is, first, you have to know yourself, but you have to know the other community and how you can establish a dialogue. So in this way, the connection is important, because what we need to move is to be collectively engaged in the innovation as an initiative to try to change the thing. And if you want to change the thing, it doesn't have to go to restore, repair, reproduce, renovate, rehabilitate, and remake. The point is, what is going on in the society? What is the progress of the knowledge? What is the evolution of the society? And if you have a possibility to understand, to connect, to feel, then you are able to invent collectively, to innovate collectively, to turn for initiative collectively, and to introduce here the novelty. This is important. This is what we have to do. Otherwise, we are good people. We are together, but how we impact, how we influence the other. If we only say we, like a group which is completely closed, we can say, oh, we are nice, we are very good people, we are very environmental. But that's us being engaged to transform the other one. What is my influence with the other one? So this is here the discussion with the algorithm. So for that, everything is based on the relation to humans, to the city, to the nature. For instance, me, I was participating to this conference in São Paulo. It was written, digital cities. Do you need a digital city, smart cities? Is it important? No. I don't need a city with internet or smartphone. What I need is maybe a Citadelis Humanas, is a human city. How we can make this city being human? And it's not only based here on the technology, because here what we need is to focus on all of us, men or women, are based on this. And this is the shape of Leonardo da Vinci. The man is the measure of everything, how we can collectively engage to this man. And we know that we have some cases in the humanity where things completely transform. For instance, look what happened in the humanism. During the humanism, we were collectively believing in the value of the man, in the value of the humanity. And in that time, we were inventing the politics with Médicis, the invention of the printing, the invention of the modern city with Florent, trades, arts. So if we collectively believe in the other, if we collectively share a value of towards humanity, then we can act. Then we are in a way to exchange from people who are in science, with people who are in economics, from people who are in different fields. So this is here what is very essential. And in this way, we can move to, I would say, innovate, try to think creativity for the community in the way to improve the human condition, improve the relation between the people. Because if we can connect better, we can act better because we are collectively. If there is no relation with the people, the we is not existing. The improvement in the life in the city, and I'm not speaking about the city which is the city of Paris. I'm speaking about the city as Platon was saying, la cité, the reference to the organization of the society. And here also we could not forget the relation with the nature, which is very fundamental. So for that, I would say part of what is important is to focus on what life is. We have collectively to think about what is life. And what is life is based on psychology, anthropology, sociology. And themes about action is not only defined in terms of, I would say, technology, because technology is something, it's the mean, it's not the orientation. Here, what we should focus on is the relation with the individual, with the, I would say, the evolution of the life, and was what Max Weber was saying, recharming the world. The question is, do you think people are happy? So for that, it's what you can do, how you can mix the things, how you can create, what is the possible combination. If I establish, if I am existing me by myself, and I am connected with Sonia, there is two possibilities. If I start to be connected with you, there is six possibilities. And if we connect with you, there is more possibilities. So here is like, I would say, the collective action is like a Rubik's Cube. You have to think in terms of possibility, in terms of how we can design possibilities to solve problems for a situation, considering the environment, considering the society. And this is here, I would say, the importance of the creativity. And now, this is what we have. We move from, I would say, traditional approach, from what it was based on the here. Previously, it was, okay, I have an idea, I have a product, I will sell you. But now the people say, no, this is what we need, what we want. And it's not the people now, with the collectively, we have the power to say no, have the power to identify themselves, to say, okay, maybe this choice, we are not agree with what is going on. So on this way, what is essential now is to focus on what is going on. And I would say this importance of the school of innovation, which is turned to life. What people need, what people wish, what people are expecting, what people are dreaming in terms of desire. And this does not define this in terms of, I would say, technology or relation. Here we have to focus on this importance about it's the, I would say, the relevant community you address your project that will define what you will do. So if you want to act collectively, it's based on where you have to engage yourself. For instance, if you want to act inside Paris, how you connect with what is Paris about. If you want to move to another country, in Asia the focus is not the same. And for instance, we had this study that now in developed countries, most of the people are focusing on terrorism. But people in developing countries are focusing on what? The needs to live, just to have an ability to eat and to have a home to sleep. So the thing is that you see here, we have to think about the community we address our project. So for that, if you want to make strong value in your support, is you have to, I would say, to focus on the people with the diversity of the people. The we is existing because these people are completely different. If they were completely the same, the we was not existing, because we could have moved to what George Orwell would have said. There is alpha people and beta people, and that's it. And if there is alpha and beta people, there is no possibility of combination. Here, the we is existing because we focus on the diversity of the people, and we can create something from this diversity, from this combination of the people. And we have to focus on this community with the importance of, I would say, capturing values such as transparency, security, sustainability, vision, value, in the way to say that here we have now, and this was part of my first part of presentation, the importance of sustainability. If it's sustainable, it will continue. If it's not, it's just, I would say, something which is not short. So here, I would say, what is essential is how you can move from, I would say, this individual to move to, I would say, categories, and how to now to consider that the collective action is based on the mix of the diversity of I. And if you are able to understand the different I, then you can engage yourself in a collective action. So just to finish and not to be long, here what is important is how you can understand dreams, desires, hopes, ideas, value, expectation, how you can respect the people, understand the practices and the knowledge, and to go for, I would say, sustainability. With, I would finish with this. It's a quotation from Aristotle. Maybe you remember, le progrès ne vaut que s'il est partagé par tous. The progress worth if it's shared by everybody. And in this sharing of the progress, it's based on the relation we establish with the community. So, thank you very much.
Florent, if I
Maybe not. Okay.
So I think I would like to lead the team, and we are here fortunate to have Andreas Schneider, German from Japan. Andreas Schneider is teaching at Waseda University in Tokyo, as well as he's founder of the International Institution Information Design. And Andreas is going to share from other things, especially what two of us been learning and inspired by Japanese culture.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much for the invitation. That was a very strong start of the panel this evening with many interesting ideas. I think what I have brought here is very much focused, small call for action actually for the audience. I was not really knowledgeable how who would come there, how the space would look like, but I felt such a conference requires not just presentations but also some physical interaction amongst the people who come. So what I want to talk about is about certainties and trust, but the subtitle, which is almost more important, the practice of sweeping the floor or wiping the floor. So what you see here is one of those robots, and you might have seen them taking over, so we don't need to take care about something which many regard as a mundane task, keeping a proper house or proper home. So we delegate it to machines such as a robot. I today want to talk about the cleaning of the floor, not by the robots, but by ourselves, and what that means in terms of the state of community and also the collective I. I don't know how many of you clean the floor actually, or actually go down on your knees. In Japan, actually, this is considered not only to be a housekeeping practice, but in many cultural activities, this is part of but ritual would be the proper word, but yeah, practice. To identify the space you collectively use them. For example, in theater, like in No, you must have heard about No play, or the Japanese theater practice. Everybody, including the most famous actor, gets on the knees before the performance, and together they clean the stage. Likewise, in a temple, the sort of daily practice of cleaning, not just the floor but also the things, is part of considered to be part of the communal practice. The purpose of cleaning might not be the first one, because it's so clean anyway. Because if everybody every day spends like 1 hour on that space, there's nothing to clean anymore. So it's more than just cleaning, it's more the contact on the relationship with the space you're occupying. And that's my interest, and I think something which could be inspiring for the theme of state of community. So before going into a very short practical description, which should lead to a call for you to actually do some cleaning here today or tomorrow or after tomorrow, I want to extend a little bit or step a little bit back and look at something which also you mentioned in your presentation, the relevance of life, what is life and what is our being in the world actually, and try how can we capture that in a very simple model that can help us to navigate in our everyday life, like a compass. So what I'm going to show here is a sort of matrix which has been inspired by a Spanish thinker called some 700 years ago, and it was considered to be one of the first. Some people call it computer, but actually it's just a combinator, a device which allows sort of combinations in order to find out, or in order to resolve an issue or gain a specific understanding. So what I'm showing here is a combinatoric, well, now we have the presentation issue. Let's see. It's a device which actually allows for combinations of some core terms in a very limited way. So it's not a complicated thing. It shouldn't be a complicated thing because it should be helpful, and it should help us in our everyday practice to better understand and also to provide better orientation for our action. So what I think in terms of cleaning the floor or the practice is like we identify who is involved, who are we talking about, and certainly there's something like me, myself, or collective I here. But I'm nothing actually if I'm not moving in the world. So I'm always identifying myself in relationship to the world where I am in or which I'm interacting with or facing with. And the way how I connect with this world is some sort of tools. I mean, this is a very general term, tools here, but language could be a tool, gesture should be a tool, of course. On the other things, the devices we develop and we design and produce are tools, such as this robot we've seen in the beginning. So I guess basically we can limit our being in the world to these three factors. Now, seeing like what is driving, for example, myself in the everyday being, and then I could say there's certain needs I have. This might be perceived needs, this might be real needs, but they are very sort of relevant for myself as long as I can recognize them as a need. Then there's constraints, things I cannot do, things I would like to do but I cannot do for all sorts of reasons. This could be physical reasons, this could be a lack of knowledge, this could be a lack of competence, lack of resources, finances, economic issues, all sorts of things which actually hold me back in doing what I perceive I would like to do or need to do. And the third parameter would be to look at, and this is sort of complementary to the constraints, what are the things I can do? And I think many of us, we are not aware of what we actually can do because we are channeled in our perception, our self-perception, or how other people classify us through education, through the grading in school, which might actually not recognize sufficiently or appropriately the abilities we have. So understanding what are our opportunities is quite a big step in this being in the world. This might sound mundane or banal, but actually if you think about it, it might help actually to think about what can you not do in order to understand what can you do. It could be just a simple ping pong. Okay, you can say, actually I'm bad at walking, so but what are you good? Or I'm bad at mathematics, so what are you good? Or I don't have any money, I have so many ideas, but I don't have money to realize. So what are your opportunities? So understanding these driving factors, I would call them, is an important thing. And now it becomes interesting when I look at these factors and I just change the subject or the object of my consideration and look at the world around myself. What are the opportunities this world offers me, for example? What are the needs the world has in terms of existing or continuing in a sustainable way? What is the constraints the world cannot do, and where we might help or play a role in order to make it possible? And the same thing, I could apply that to our tools, to the tools I have. You might experience it in a very everyday. This morning I went to a pool, to a swimming pool in Paris. It was the first experience in a French swimming pool. It was quite interesting. There was a sink, and I would expect either a knob to turn around or some sort of automatic. Now we are sort of accustomed to things we don't really think about it. It's a sort of black box. We just stretch our hand and something happens. And there was something like a joystick. So you push it and the water came running. And then I wondered, how can I stop it? But there was no way. I mean, I know when it's sort of electronic something, I push it in my hand, I release my hand, it sort of stops. There's some sort of mental model I can produce. But this joystick didn't offer any, I didn't know how it would stop. Only after a while I realized there must be some hidden mechanism, some spring, which after a while sort of uncoils, so then the water stops automatically. But that was not visible from the design. So the constraint the tool might have could be an issue also to understand, like, is it a good tool or is it a bad tool? Likewise, we could change that around and think about the opportunities the tool offers. Now, when it's about wiping the floor, the tool I don't know what you're using, it becomes a complicated thing, because now it might be more complicated to get a proper cloth or torsion, because there are all sort of objects like the stick, the broom, and with some textile hanging on it and so forth. So there are all sort of tools which seemingly facilitate, but which might not really have the opportunities a simple cloth might have. Interesting thing is, I don't know about France, but in Germany, when you buy a cloth for cleaning the floor, it will be a big thing. So much too big to properly rinse it or clean it, because it's just simply too big. And also when you wipe the floor, how do you fold it? So it's a lot of issues. The Japanese cloth is just like A4 size, more or less. And this is actually, when you compare it with the size of your hand, it's all about ergonomics. It's quite ergonomic. Because when you fold it once, it would be the size of your hand. So you can clean it and you can fold it the other direction. You can unfold it, so you can actually use it 4 times, this simple cloth. So that would be an opportunity of that simple cloth. And then, of course, what is the need of a tool? And then we know about all these issues we have, like not being able to operate furniture, operate doors. This is what I would describe the wiping with. But then making the practice means more than just cleaning the floor once here. Let's say we do it tonight, that would be enough. Only by repeatedly doing it, it becomes a practice. So The practice requires that we do it with a certain purpose, that we are aware of what we're doing and why we're doing, that we have a certain persistence, like we don't get tired tomorrow and say, okay, it was too much, let's ask somebody else to take over, or let's get one of those robots to do it for us, it's much easier and we don't need to bother about that. But it's this persistence, and it's also the attention to the floor while we're wiping it that keeps us connected to the floor and in turn connected to ourselves. Now, why would I talk about the floor and the wiping? The reason why I bring it up here is because I think that practice actually creates a certainty. It creates an understanding of you did something, you can do something, and you did something, and you are able to repeat, to also do it in the future. And the effect of it becomes almost predictable. So out of that, a certain a type of certainty grows. And I think that this certainty is a very important ingredient of a community. I guess many of the issues we have in today, communities, comes from this lack of certainty. Maybe there's no floor anymore we can hold on so easily. There's a level of abstraction in we're dealing with the world which sort of pulls the floor away from our feet, almost. With certainty, of course, there comes the last one, the last term I think is relevant, trust. And trust, I mean, I try to give it a very short definition, and I think many people might have issues with that and say that's not enough to. But it's an attempt, and I think it's also challenging to try to reduce a definition to a very, very core. And if I would say trust is something which is a non-negotiable recognition, it's quite a big thing. In the EU now you have a big, I mean, I see that from Japan, you might have a very different view on it. There was this regulation on privacy and data security in the internet, how to deal with it. And there was a big effort by the European Commission to bring up new regulations where the sort of individual gets more right in sort of protecting their privacy and the data they give to providers or people who provide services. On one side, that might look like a success. I think this is not a success at all, because it doesn't address the issue of trust. It's almost like building another wall, which replaces trust by a structure which to hold back, like a system of rules, a system of regulations, which sort of keep you safe. But I don't think this is a sustainable answer to what we need as a community in order to be sustainable and live together. I think this trust, how can we build trust which is non-negotiable? There's no doubt, it's just there, we accept it at any cost. How can we do that? I think this is one of the biggest challenges we have. And the wiping of the floor is basically you do it and there's no question about it, because once you clean it, actually one suggestion from my side would also be try to do it at night, dark, no light on. You know your room, you know the floor, so there's no question, you don't need to have a light to check it. So there's no need to check it, did you clean it properly? There's a trust, when you do it, then it's done properly. And on that level, I think if we have trust in each other, without the need of some legal framework or some policing sort of action, I think that would be something to aim at into a community. So on practical terms, I think after that time, if enough people sort of raise their hand, it would be nice to start tomorrow, maybe even clean that place. I would be very happy if we could do that at least tomorrow, but better if we could do it twice or three in the next few days. Thank you very much.
to writer and journalist, Madam Alecia McKenzie. Please take.
Thank you, Sonia, and thanks for the invitation to be here. Bonsoir, good evening. Thanks for being here as well, especially considering the weather outside after such a long winter. So we're going to move on from wiping the floor to writing the story. And I haven't prepared I haven't really prepared a presentation. I'm just going to talk about being a writer and being a journalist and what that means for me personally. Being in a solitary kind of profession, because being a writer is a very solitary profession. Being a journalist, of course, you go out and you attend press conferences and you interact with people, but the writing part is still very solitary. So how do you go from that solitary I to the community? And as a writer, I sometimes go to schools and I speak with high school students, and they tell me about the difference and the impact that reading books have on them, on their thinking. So you're maybe alone writing your story, but the story does go out into the community and does have an impact. So I deal with fiction and fact, and I really recognize the difference, so I don't mix them. There's been a lot of talk about fake news, and most journalists are very concerned by this as well. Journalists and writers around the world have been attacked, increasingly facing aggression. Journalists and writers have been jailed, have been killed, and this is an ongoing thing. Nearly every day in my mailbox, because I get releases from UNESCO, I get something from the press office saying that the UNESCO Director General condemns the killing of journalists in this country or that country, and it's a daily occurrence. So this is something that I think everybody in the profession is very concerned about. The other thing that people are very concerned about is how much journalism has changed, how much the publishing industry as well has changed, and what can we do about it as a community. Now with the great leader in the United States, much has been said about, that was sarcasm back there, much has been said about fake news. And if people want to discredit you as a journalist now, it's fake news. I don't think that so much fake news or that journalists are responsible for fake news to a large extent. I think fake news is being spread by people who want to achieve something, whether that is to influence elections or to get people upset about certain things. But most journalists that I know are very careful about facts. They're fact checking all the time, because we do realize that whatever we put out there has an impact on the community. One of the things, though, is that media companies now are so interested in how much can be generated by clicks. So, I remember there was a journalist from Spain, an editor, saying some of the news that had been put out was obviously fake, but that so many clicks were generated. So if you, there was one story about a cat that, I don't know, maybe had climbed up a building and had been rescued, or I can't remember what the story was about the cat, but it was an interesting story, and they got so many clicks, and it was a big story. So, I think when we talk about community and going from the I, solitary I, if you like, to the interaction with community, we have to think also about the community response to certain things. Whether that's what's on Facebook, whether if you choose to forward that and to keep spreading that, that is individual responsibility and community responsibility. And we all have, I think, a responsibility to make sure that the information we pass on, that information is correct. Okay? But the journalist also has a responsibility of making sure, checking the accuracy, checking and rechecking that what is transmitted is factual and is balanced, because that's also very important.